Welcome to Coco Recaps. Today I'm going to explain the lesson plan for the movie, which was released in the year 2022. The movie opens with a man named Damien who appears to be working for a company that sells illegal drugs and other items. When the boss learns that there is a snitch among them who could help them get a big hit, he calls Damien over and confronts him about it. The boss surprises Damien by disclosing that he is aware that Damien is actually an undercover police officer, as he continues to claim that he has no idea what he is talking about. Damien understands his cover as he continues to fight. He is struck by a car, but he is still on his feet, so he moves towards the boss once more. Just as the boss is about to arrest him, the boss informs him that they know about his wife. This shocks Damien, and he immediately rushes home to see if she is okay. However, when he enters his home, everything seems strange, and as he enters his bedroom, he finds his wife's dead body years later. Revealed that the same student had been absent in the previous class as well. When the teacher inquires about him, the other students proceed to inform him that he has become addicted to something, which is why he hasn't been able to make it to the class. We then see a girl named Amelia in the class who tells the teacher that she too was addicted like this missing student and that she understands what he must be going through. The teacher, however, tells her to shut it down. Another student, Shimon's son, Camille, receives a call from the mother of the missing student informing him that her son has passed away. It is then revealed that drugs have been a major problem at the school. This is not the first time it has happened to a student. Because Shimon does not want this to happen to any other students again, he decides to handle the drug trade at his school himself. He immediately makes contact with Damien. Shimon hangs up after Damien does not answer the phone. An audio message for him. Then, we see that Damien has turned into a drunk who has been drinking himself to death since the passing of his beloved wife. That night, when he finally manages to leave the house after being fired from his job as a cop, he goes to visit Shimon because he left him a voicemail earlier saying that he needs to talk to him. Camille overhears the conversation between the two men as Shimon continues to describe the issue that has been plaguing her school. His space on the way back home, Damien stops at a store to buy some drinks for himself, but there are 3 thugs there, and they proceed to steal his wallet from him. When Damien notices his wallet is missing, he asks the thugs to return it, but they refuse, and Damien goes on to beat the thugs. Damien then tells Shimon that he can barely move because he's drunk all the time, so he won't be able to help him at returning his wallet. The store owner promptly stops him and offers him a bottle of wine so that he may quickly exit his establishment. Shimon, on the other hand, decides to take matters into his own hands. He overhears a student discussing a warehouse where they might acquire narcotics, so Shimon rushes there. However, he is captured by the goons, and the next morning when Damien awakens, Shimon is still there. When he gets up, he turns on his TV and discovers that Shimon has been discovered dead at a warehouse. He is horrified and devastated to hear this news because it implies that they killed Shimon and then used his body to frame him for selling drugs to his students. The newsreader is seen saying that Shimon committed suicide because he felt bad for doing so. There are reporters out there who want to speak with Damien about it, so he immediately gets up and heads over to his friend's house. When he sees Shimon's distraught wife, he ignores them all and enters the house since they allowed him because he was a cop. He then tells her that her husband is being falsely accused of all of this and that he was not a drug dealer. After one of the officers continues to make fun of Camille by telling him that his father was a drug dealer, Camille attacks the officer, but Damien breaks them up and prevents Camille from being detained. At that point, Damien resolves to find out what happened. Shimon was an honorable man, so he needs to clear the man's name. After getting clean, he contacts a few people to get some fake degrees that qualify him to apply for a teaching position. He then goes to Shimon's school pretending to be a teacher and says that he would like to take Shimon's place there because he has heard that the seat is still open. A woman there tells him to leave the school because it is a dangerous place. He meets Agata, the secretary, and she gives him a tour of the school in the hallway. He then confronts a boy with a gang, but before things get out of hand, the head of the security team arrives. The principal then joins them and tells Damien that he's welcome because, of course, there are no teachers willing to teach in the school. He also says that the school has hired a proper security team so things might get better. There are a lot of kids in his class. Damien then asserts his authority by making it obvious that his class will not tolerate any lack of discipline. When a student named Frogface bothers the other students, Damien kicks him out of class. When Frogface refuses to leave, Agata brings in the security chief to deal with him. Damien then threatens Agra, telling her he will see her later. Later, when Agata is in the parking lot, she is attacked by Frogface and his boys. They go on to capture her and are about to take her away when Damien intervenes. When Damien arrives, he proceeds to beat the living daylights out of Frogface while his boys flee. After the battle, Damien has a gash on his hand that Agata administers to. They appear to be becoming closer, and Damien instructs her on how to protect herself. Later, we observe Jero and his men speaking with Frogface. When a man on a bike arrives, it turns out that he is the head of the school's security. It is later revealed that the man is really from the gang and has evolved into the security chief. The following day, Damien is seen by the leader of the security team, who interviews him because he is suspicious of him in order to keep his schmaltzy company running. When Damien walks into his class, he notices that all the pupils have his fighting film on their phones and they are all watching it. Damien informs him, however, that he is nothing more than a teacher. The school's principal also begins to like Damien. He goes on to train them in the gym. While he's doing that, Camille arrives at the gym and spots Damien there. He understands what is going on and leaves, but Damien follows him, and Camille agrees to keep his secret. Go on to ask him many questions about how on earth he can fight that well. They ask him to teach them self-defense, and he likes the idea. Later, when Damien and Agata are ready to have sex, Damien becomes distracted by thoughts of his wife and leaves. Agata is perplexed. What happens the following day at school? Agata treats Damien coldly for leaving that way the night before, while Amelia tries to stop one of her friends from purchasing drugs from Jero's men but is grabbed by them. Camille steps in to defend her but is untrained in combat, so Jero and his men severely beat him and make an example of him, making it clear to the other students that no one is allowed to do so. Not to meddle with their business, he takes them to his own gym, which is located in ruins, but everyone helps him clean it so that they have a proper place to train. Damien tries to talk to Agata in the following days, but she ignores him and only addresses him as a co-worker. The following day, he leaves and follows the students who are practicing self-defense. Work with the drug dealers, he discovers a location where they have kept all the drugs and calls the police on them. A large amount of packets of drugs are confiscated by the police and Damien is happy, but he has no idea that he is being watched by Schmalzi, the head of security and the real drug dealer at the school. That day, Jero and his boys decide that they need to do something about Damien, so they hire a private investigator to find out what is going on with Damien. Dispatch some guys to assault the subject. Although Damien is still a superior fighter than these three men and the other gang members, he proceeds to beat them to a pulp. The following day, as Skidelsky's men come into view, Damien realizes they are actually members of a gang but chooses to go through with it for the time being. Jero then tells Smielski that he has a plan to deal with Damien, and he goes to Amelia's house. Amelia is crying when Damien arrives at the school the following day. She goes on to tell everyone that Damien tried to take advantage of her. Damien is expelled from the school and no one believes him. He is threatened with killing her fathers if she doesn't help him and his boys get rid of Damien. She is forced to give in. Amelia resumes using drugs as she used to. Damien confronts Amelia because she feels too bad about what she did, and when she tells him the truth, he also makes her stop using drugs. Damien then visits Frogface, who is hospitalized after receiving a beating from the gang the other day. Frogface informs Damien that the gang actually manufactures the drugs in the lab of the school. Damien visits Agata. He attempts to speak with her because he wants to inform her of his discoveries, but she ignores him and sends him away. Stefan, the lab instructor, appears and it turns out that he is the one in charge of creating these narcotics. Damien manages to steal the school keys and goes there. He sneaks into the lab where he witnesses the drugs being manufactured. He then follows some thugs to their warehouse where he sees images of all that. He calls Agata and leaves a message for her in which he explains everything that he has learned. The following day, Damien goes to the school to show the principal the pictures, but the man says they are blurry and do not prove anything. Stefan claims that he was just joking, but the men claim that they saw him at the warehouse and attacked him. Damien feels like he's losing this case and returns to his drinking habits, but he is soon approached by Agata, who apologizes to him for not believing him, and he tells her his entire story. Agata later goes to see Amelia, who goes on to confess everything to her. Damien visits Stefan and they decide to collaborate after sharing a kiss. Tries to intimidate him into disclosing the identities of those responsible by pinning him against a wall, but Stefan counters that he is only creating narcotics for them out of fear for the life of his wife. Amelia visits the principal to disclose the entire truth about what happened after Stefan is shot. Meanwhile, Aga finds a notepad in Stefan's lab drawer and keeps it for herself the entire time. While they are at the hospital, Damien receives a phone from Agata telling him that Amelia has been attacked and is now in a coma. Other students, including Camille, arrive to visit Damien and apologize to him since they too know the truth. When Damien snatches the notebook away from her, he discovers a diagram of the warehouse that shows where all the narcotics have been hidden, and Damien is now in that location. Make their way to the warehouse unaware that Schmalzi is watching them. Using the map in the notebook, they were able to locate all the drugs with ease. When they arrive, they are met by Skidelsky, Jero, and the other gang members. The biggest surprise is that the school's principal has joined forces with the gang. Have been trained by Damien also arrive at the warehouse, a fight breaks out, and all the students proceed to beat the living daylights out of the gang members. Damien is proud of his students, and after a one-on-one fight with Schmalzi, in which he electrocutes him to death, the principal captures Agata and threatens to shoot her. Damien decides not to lose her either. Despite the warning, he continues to assault the principal. When the principal pulls out another pistol, Camille kills him by dropping a container full of toys on him. When the police arrive, the remaining gang members are apprehended, and the movie ends. Thank you for watching. Please turn on notifications, like this video, and subscribe for more content like it.